biggest takeaways from Summer League over the 5 games?
Just the experience of being able to be a head coach. You know, I've been in this for, I think, almost 8 years, getting close to a decade, and this is my first time ever being the head coach of Summer League. Just being put in different situations. I believe the first media session I did, they asked about what development looks like, and for me, it was just trying to be in situations I've never had to do and see how I did. This was a lot of fun. I had a great group of guys that were professional all the way through, that played as hard as they could all the time, and I'm going to remember this experience for a long time.
What do you think your biggest takeaways for yourself as a coach are? Like, what are your learnings from this?
How much preparation you have to do as a head coach, for one. Managing players and staff as well. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is you have to be a really good communicator. I know my wife, if she's watching this, would probably be like, I'm really trash at it, but I know I got better at doing this, and I'm hoping it continues that way. But for me, communication is probably the biggest thing I've taken from this, and how much you have to be willing to have those tough conversations sometimes with everybody, whether it's staff or players. You have to be completely honest with them. Maybe in the moment they may not like it, but at the end of the day, they'll respect it.
You guys had some guys that hadn't gotten a lot of time play today. What did you see from those guys in kind of an expanded role today?
They played the right way as best they could. You could see they got fatigued at times because of the amount of minutes they were playing, but at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. And they fought all the way to the end. That's all I could ask for. At times it looked really bleak, where we could have easily just given up and let them just run us out of the gym, and we fought all the way to the final buzzer. And for those guys, that's exactly what you have to do, regardless of what the situation is. When your time is called, you have to be ready to show up and play to your very best of your ability.
Tristan today, kind of a slow start for him, but had a big fourth quarter essentially. What did you see from him today?
Tristan is so competitive that he never wants to play bad. And at times during the game, you could see, especially in the first 3 quarters, that he was in his own head because he was missing shots, and then he might miss an assignment and things like that. But for him, he took a step in the fourth quarter. You know, things weren't going his way, but he kept sticking with the process of what we've been trying to tell him. Like, there's going to be days that isn't going to be your way, where you're making all your shots and things like that. But if you really want to be an effective player, you got to figure out a way to be effective in other ways, and then allow your offensive game and things like that to come around.
Jules Bernard had 17 off the bench today. What can you just talk about his performance throughout the course of Summer League?
Jules, for me, I got to work with Jules a lot in the go-go. To see him on this stage play the way he is, especially today where he actually had the ball in his hand a lot more, I'm super proud of him. Even for him, I'm sure this was a tough experience for him too, because he didn't have the ball in his hands as much as he did in the G League. But at the end of the day, you want to be as effective in your minutes and shots, and that's what he was able to do. And I'm glad he was able to come out here and show what he could do to every single team there is, whether he's with the Wizards or another team. I know they're going to get not just a good basketball player, but they're going to get an even better person.
You guys won an 18-0 run for end of the first, beginning of the second. What sparked that for you guys?
Us just coming out playing together. Coach was preaching us just moving the ball, and I just feel like we was out there sharing the ball and playing together.
What are your biggest takeaways from Summer League?
Just the experience, Everybody don't get this opportunity, so I just come out here and enjoy the process, just having fun, competing at a very high level.
For yourself, what are some things that maybe you learned about your game throughout this process?
I'd say just knowing that I can be an all-time defender every time I step out on the court, just putting my energy towards that side of my game. And I'm a scorer, like everybody knows I'm a scorer, but, I just hang my head on the defensive side of the game.